Sorry, it's your turn.
Whether it makes you laugh, cry, scream, or fly, there's a song for every emotion. We're Mike and Priya, and we talk about the songs that make up the soundtrack to your life. Because life is in the lyrics.
Mm-hmm. Hello, little listeners. This is Life is in the Lyrics, where we talk about how music and lyrics relate to every single aspect of our lives. Right, Mike?
Yes, we do. Mm-hmm. We do, Priya.
We sure do.
We sure do.
And then sometimes we go off on really long tangents that have nothing to do with how music relates to our lives.
No, but you know, the podcast does inspire conversation, and that's just what we do. We do conversation, yo.
Yeah, and as long as we're talking, we're happy because we just want to talk.
We do. You know.
And we love the sound of our voices.
Yes. We kind of do.
I mean, you did actually say that you like how your voice sounds on the recording.
I do, yeah. Actually, when I listen back to the podcast when it's been published, I do. I'm like, yeah. I used to hate my voice, though.
I like listening to my voice when I'm recording it because I can hear it in the headphones.
Yeah.
When I hear the actual recorded version, I'm like, she sounds like a whiny, bossy bitch. And she is. And if the shoe fits, wear that fucking shoe.
You said it, girl. You said it. All right. Well, how you doing? How you doing there, girlie?
Well, you know, I'm doing okay. I'm ready for like spring. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm ready for actual permanent spring.
Right. But you, the other day when we were together, you had said you really hope that spring, it doesn't go from like, okay, we're in, you know, the end of the winter and 2 days later we're into summer, because that does happen here.
Yes,
where
and
it goes
I don't
from
want
like
that.
you know 5 degrees to 18 degrees and it's just like hot and steamy for the rest
That's true.
of it.
Oh, I wouldn't mind hot and steamy for the rest of the summer. Oh, let me tell you that. But I would just like a steady progression towards spring. None of this friggin' yo-yo that's happening in Toronto, and I don't know wherever you're all listening from. But we've had one day where it'll be 14 degrees and beautiful, and the next day it's a friggin' blizzard, and then the next day it's like 3 degrees and sunny, and then 18 degrees. It's like, I don't know what to wear or like how to, I don't know. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it.
But this is Southern Ontario spring, so just suck it up, buttercup.
I know.
But anyways, let's stop talking about the weather because
weather
weather
so
is
Canadian.
boring.
We're so Canadian, and that's what Canadians talk about.
Yeah. But with this warmer weather,
theoretically, you mean?
Well, with I was going to say with the lack of snow, but we recently got a blizzard, so but it's not going to last. It's not going to last. Okay. No, I'm looking forward to getting back on my bike. And I did get my bike out a couple of days ago. My husband and I went to a friend's house, and we thought, oh, we'll ride our bikes. Now, I don't know if you remember, but back in the fall, I got into a bike accident.
Yes.
Yes, I went over the handlebars.
Yes.
My wrist is still not working properly.
Really?
Yeah, and so I did ride my bike that once.
Did you break something in it?
I think I did. So I have a doctor's appointment next week, and I'm finally going to get it looked at. Don's been on my ass for weeks to no.
I'm resisting. I'm resisting.
Nagging me about getting a doctor's appointment. And so I finally booked one because I can't go. Like, it's not fixed. It's not healed.
No, you need to get that shit x-rayed.
Yeah.
And see if there's something going on there.
Yeah. So that's something.
And if it's not broken and if it's just a tendon issue, you know what might work for that?
What?
Red light laser therapy.
Oh, yeah. You've got that thing.
I've got a big old machine at home.
Yeah. Does that really work?
I did a lot of research, and I looked at doctors who were researching and stuff.
When you say research, are you talking about you Googled the internet?
Isn't that what research is these days?
Well, I don't know. Did you talk to professionals?
I mean, listen, when my cat, who has now passed, when she had arthritis and she was having...
to talk to her?
She used to suggest it. She had arthritis in her hips, so she was having a hard time going up and down the stairs. And the vet used to do red light laser therapy on her at the clinic. And so that's when I thought, well, why am I paying them whatever, $60 a session? I looked online. I could buy a little wand unit for, I think it was $150. So I bought that and I used it for her. And it did help because I used it every day on her for just like 5 minutes. And she had a little bit easier time going up and down the steps. So Then I talked to physiotherapists and they said that it works. And I thought, well, I'm not going to pay you guys $100 a session when I could just buy myself a machine and
Are you
bask in the glow of it.
offering your red light
Yeah. You want to borrow it?
laser thing for me?
I have 2 now.
Oh, of course.
Because I had the wand that I got for my little Isis. But then when I wanted to use it for my hip, I was like, I can't use that tiny wand to go through all the layers of stuff on my hip to get down into that nitty gritty. So I bought the big machine.
Do you use that when you are in a fit of onanastic passion?
Onanastic? When I'm in an onanastic mood, I don't really need to use any accoutrements. I just I know how to take care of that situation.
See the way I did that? Did you like
I did
the way
see it, and I saw it coming a mile away.
Our word of the day.
Onanastic. Look it up, people.
Look it up, people.
Because we discovered this word when we were trying to figure out the meaning behind the video for The Chauffeur, which is a song by Duran Duran, which we talked about in our last episode.
Yeah.
And that term came up. Do you want to, should we tell them though what it means?
No, let them look it up.
They won't even know how to spell it.
That's okay. They can figure it out.
Okay.
They'll get it from the script.
Masturbation.
Oh, Jesus. I'm cutting all that out.
Self-love?
I'm cutting it out.
Okay. All right. So do we
so
need to talk about anything else? Is there anything interesting that's happening in your life? My life?
Yes. Yeah. Last weekend, I was at a concert.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah. I went to a Tafel Music Baroque Orchestra concert.
That's very different.
Yeah, it is quite different. My husband, Don, has season's tickets to Tafel Music, and he goes with a friend from high school. They've been going for like 25 years together. And his friend wasn't able to go. And some other friends of ours were going to be in town. And one of them was his birthday. So 4 of us went. It was beautiful. Have you ever been to Tafel Music?
I have not, but I do want to just back up to say he has season's tickets for it. So how often do they perform?
I think he goes at least once a month.
And do they perform like different pieces or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they perform different. And there's a choir, and then there's all the orchestra.
And is it all original pieces or is it just?
No. It's like classical music.
I would love that because I am a big classical fan.
Yes,
as you know.
you are. Yeah, you should go. And the church is gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Churches have the best acoustics.
What was that?
I know. Churches have the best acoustics.
Yes, they
Not
do.
Whatever I said.
Acoustics.
Yeah, something. But yes. Not funny, but when I was in Paris a few weeks ago, we were in a church and nobody else was there. And so my friend Sue, who's a singer, she just sang like a few lines of Ave Maria. And honestly, the acoustics, just the echo. And I don't know, there's something about the way churches are built and showers, oddly enough. Some of my best singing is done in the shower. Not when I'm in an onopad. What is the word?
Onanistic?
Not when I'm in an onanistic. That's such a weird word. Mood. But yeah, showers have great acoustics, but churches just meant for voices to be raised in prayer.
Yeah. So yeah, we did that. So shout out to Bernard. Happy birthday. And then we went for dinner after, and it was quite nice. But it was a Friday night, and I was getting a little sleepy, I got to say, in the concert.
Why? What
May
time
have
was this
closed
concert?
my eyes. Don definitely slept through some of it. The concert started at 7, I think, and we had dinner reservations for 10.
Oh my Lord!
And so, we were in the concert for that long, and it was warm. I looked over at one point, and Don's eyes were closed, and he was doing a little bit of the head sway.
Yes.
And then we went to a restaurant for dinner. And as soon as we sat down, they said, "Oh, you should really get your order in because the kitchen closes at 11."
Because it's 10 o'clock.
Kitchen closes at 11 at a restaurant on a Friday night?
Well, maybe that's a little strange, but
That's kind of weird, right?
I guess so. I don't know. Like 11's pretty late to order food.
I don't know. I mean, it's Friday
Listen,
night.
I've been having dinner at 6 o'clock lately like a senior citizen, okay?
Yeah,
So
All right.
I'm not one
Well,
to
anyways,
ask.
it was a lovely night out. We had a couple of bottles of wine, and it was nice to catch up with friends.
Yeah. Nice.
What about you? Any cultural or other activities going on in your life?
I did have dinner with a friend this week, which was really nice because we only get together, I don't know, maybe 5-6 times a year. We get together regularly, but it's not
5 or 6 times a year.
Yeah, I mean, it's maybe a little bit more than that. That sounds very. Anyways, I really love having dinner with her. So shout out to Dana because we have the best conversations.
Really,
we just really get into
the best.
Somebody jealous. Yeah,
like
we do.
Podcast best?
We have really podcast-worthy conversations.
Ever.
No, I just really like that I can have a very deep conversation with her. Like we touch upon politics, we touch upon religion, we talk about a lot of different things, and then usually we will get a little gossipy at some point too. So it's a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I really appreciate. I like.
Do you ever gossip about me?
Gossip about you? No, in terms of like, you should see what
tea?
Mike was. No, there's nothing I say about you that I wouldn't say to your face.
Oh, God, that bad, eh?
Well, I'm honest. So, yeah.
She don't hold back, listeners. She does not hold back.
I do try not to talk about people behind their backs. Like, I won't say anything that I wouldn't.
Oh, I've got something to tell you about so-and-so.
Yeah, like I wouldn't say that about a friend. Like I wouldn't say something about you that... Okay, let me rephrase this. If you ask me, Priya, what are the negative things about me, or what do you say about me? I don't know. Like I would tell you. So there's nothing that I would say about my friends.
Sometimes you tell me when I don't even ask.
And so do you.
Well, yeah, it's true.
Yes. Listen, I don't mind it. I expect it.
Yeah, I can tell you don't mind.
But I also do kind of enjoy it because it's you, and that's fine. But what I was saying about Dana is just I like that we get into talking about the world and what's going on, and we're not afraid to get into it, even if we don't always agree 100%. It's like, let's just shit is happening around us, and sometimes you're out with friends and they just have no concept of what's happening. They don't want to know about it. They don't want to talk about it, which I understand, but that's not me. I can't really pretend that the shit storm that's happening around us is not happening.
Yeah. All right.
That's all. So, Mike, you had an idea for a topic for a while now.
Yeah.
So can you relay today's theme to our little listeners and let them know why you chose it?
Yes. So this episode, little listeners, is about one-hit wonders. I would think like everybody knows of or can think of a one-hit wonder that they relate to, or that, there's just like, oh yeah, I remember this group, or I remember this song was so big.
Or a song that just was an earworm that just got stuck in your head that you couldn't get rid of.
Yeah. So I thought, it'd be really interesting to do an episode on one-hit wonders and to just kind of go down that rabbit hole. Yeah.
Because there are so many of these that are very annoying songs, like Mambo Number 5 and the Macarena and Don't Worry, Be Happy. Wasn't that another one?
Yes.
I think that was a one-hit wonder. And I just, all these songs that just so catchy, and I just wish they would fuck off from my head.
Oh my God.
And once it's like that song, Baby Shark. Do you know that song?
Yes.
It's a kid song?
Yeah. No, I don't know it, but you've told me this before.
I gotta sing it so that it gets in your head, Mike.
Yeah.
Baby shark da na 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 na, baby shark da na 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 na, baby shark da na 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 na, baby shark na 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 na.
Oh my God, that's all it does?
That is all it does.
What is it for?
It's for kids, like preschool kids. Yeah, I was once programming a kids conference, TV conference, and I'd never heard of that song before, and they were talking about the science of an earworm and how to develop an earworm. And so they played that, and it did get stuck in my head for like the next week.
If I'm, stuck singing that song, Priya,
I know.
I'm going to wake you up. I'm going to call you and wake you up, and I'm going to sing.
It's already in your head, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm
sorry. Let's go to our one-hit wonders. I had been thinking about this for a while.
Did you hurt yourself?
Jesus. She on fire today, little listeners. Fire. And if she don't stop,
this
she literally
girl is on fire.
Yeah. But I was thinking, one-hit wonders, are they different from country to country?
Oh, Oh, that's a great question.
Right? Because, like we're so dominated by the Western cultural influences. And, being in Canada with US
Mm-hmm.
as our neighbors, we get a lot. Although I am surprised sometimes at how some songs will be really big in the US. And I'm like, I have never heard this song before.
Or vice versa. Like we have huge songs in Canada, and then we look at the US and it's just not cracked there. But that's a really good question. And I suspect that a lot of one-hit wonders, because I mean, even a couple that are on that I looked up, they're from bands that are from outside North America. And so they probably had a one-hit wonder here, but in their home countries,
they're bigger bands. Yeah.
they have successful careers.
Right. Yeah. So, well, interesting. When I was thinking about one-hit wonders, I was thinking, okay, what actually is a one-hit wonder? And one of the definitions that I came across was a one-hit wonder is any entity that achieves mainstream popularity, often for only one piece of work, and becomes known among the general public solely for that momentary success. The term is most commonly used in regard to music performers with only one hit single that overshadows their other work. Some artists, dubbed one-hit wonders in a particular country, had achieved success in other countries. Blah, blah, blah. It goes on and on.
Right.
Anyways, so it's interesting that the definition also includes that an artist may only have a hit in one particular country, and yet they may be successful in others.
Yeah, and I wonder if the idea of one hit wonder, I don't know how to phrase this. Like, I wonder if it's only a North American concept. Are there one hit wonders in other countries?
Yeah, and there are one hit wonders in different genres and in different decades.
Well, sure, that I can see, like Baby Got Back. I think that was
But even from the 50s and 60s.
Right.
And country and, country was the only other genre that I really came across.
But I guess what I mean is, like, if you go to Iceland or something, like, will American bands be a one-hit wonder there? Or will other bands have crept in to be a one-hit wonder in their charts? Or is it just sort of America because so many bands try to break into the American market?
Maybe, yeah. When I was researching, there are other countries. Like there's a webpage that gives you a list of the one-hit wonders for each decade by country. So New Zealand, Ireland, and the Irish one-hit wonders, I'd never heard of any of these people.
Okay, interesting.
But New Zealand, Australia, like some of the other non-Western countries had similar songs and artists on them.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if that is I guess it is intercontinental and it doesn't really matter.
Right.
But the commonality that I came across with some of these countries were that some of the songs that were considered one-hit wonders, like 99 Luftballons,
right.
that was a one-hit wonder on many lists in different countries.
And what about back in Germany? Did she have a career in Germany? That's where she's from, right?
I don't know, actually.
I think that's where she was from, but
Sinead O'Connor came up on the list.
Well, yes, because
Sinead O'Connor.
But that was. Can you think of any other songs that she's done? Crickets.
Yeah, I guess.
And it's crazy to think that because that song is iconic.
I think when I saw the definition and it said a hit that overshadows the rest of their career,
right?
Then that
is 100% Sinead O'Connor. I mean,
and yet there are others like Tommy Two-Tone.
Right.
8675309.
Yes.
I have no idea if he sang anything else.
And I wonder how much money they made off these one-hit wonders.
Well, for some of them, especially with the use of their song in marketing and commercials, they do make more money. They do continue to make money off their work.
Because that song, I mean, that 86753, it's so catchy. Like, I can imagine they would still use it in
that
shows
one
or something.
Also, I would think if you had that phone number, you were probably
harassed. Oh, yeah.
It is. You would think it is a real number.
Yeah.
867-5309.
Back in the days when phone numbers were just 7 digits. 7 digits, right? Before you had to punch in area codes in front of it because we ran out of phone numbers. It's funny because that song came across my eyes too when I was looking into some of these songs, and they said that some corporations or companies took advantage of how popular that was, and they chose that phone number
so that they could get the business. Yeah, I could see that happening. Yeah,
clever.
That is quite clever.
Yeah,
and then there's bands like. Do you remember? You remember Pass the Dutchie from the left-hand side? I said, Pass the...
Isn't that Boney M?
No, that was Musical Youth.
Musical Youth, okay.
Yeah.
Also, what's a Dutchie? The only Dutchie I know is a kind of donut.
A Dutchie, I believe the meaning behind that is a spliff.
Oh.
Pass the Dutchie from the left-hand side.
No, okay, here it says... I don't know. For those who aren't aware, a Dutchie is a Jamaican cooking pot.
Oh, okay. I thought it was.
Coochie, And while there's not much reason to pass one around, it was an acceptable substitute for the original lyric, pass the coochie. Coochie being Jamaican slang for a pot that holds marijuana. A pot. That's clever.
Okay.
A pot. So yeah, related back to weed.
Okay, there we go.
Okay. I should sing this song when I'm high one night.
Listeners,
every night.
Listeners, wait for that voice memo to be played on the next episode.
Yeah. We should play. I mean, no, I know we played one recently, but we should play some of the other ones because there's some good deep thoughts in there. I have had some good deep thoughts.
Well, maybe that could be a whole component of our podcast. Maybe we'll think about weaving that in as a
we should do a segment. Topic that's all about songs about smoking up.
Okay.
And then we can play some of my...
It'll be all Post Malone.
Incredible deep thoughts.
And,
yeah, I don't
know. So the other thing that I was thinking about with this theme of one-hit wonders was that film. I don't know if you ever saw it, but the film was called That Thing You Do, Tom Hanks film.
I absolutely saw that film.
Yes.
And I loved that film.
When
did that come out?
1996.
Oh, my God. Oh, I loved that movie so much.
Oh God, here we go. How old was I in 1996?
I would have been 24.
I was 27.
Okay.
Yeah. I love that film. And do you remember the name of the band, The Wonders?
No. Was that their name?
That was the name of the band, The Wonders. The film really was about a band that had a one-hit wonder.
Oh, okay.
That was the point of the film. It's like, how did this band come about and what was their hit that kind of like propelled them into stardom, and then they quickly fell apart.
I don't remember how it ended now.
You didn't? Oh,
No.
okay. Well, you'll have to watch the film.
I'm
But
gonna watch
I
it again.
loved that movie, and it was
Me
a
too.
really feel-good movie.
Yes, a very happy, sweet, innocent kind of movie.
Yeah.
And it took place in what, like the 60s, 50s, 60s?
60s, yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? It's really hard to write a song like for a movie, like that's supposed to be a band song. But this song is so catchy.
It is, yeah. And it was I think it was an Oscar-nominated song as well.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I wonder if it won. We'll have to look that up.
So I went down a bit of a rabbit hole about this film. Do you remember the song?
You
doing that thing you do, breaking my heart into a million pieces, like you always do.
Oh my God, so fun.
So good. And I was watching this video that was about the making of the movie. Tom Hanks wrote, directed, and starred in that movie.
I did not know he wrote and directed it.
Yeah.
I might have known that before, but I forgot it. That's cool.
Yeah, he did. It was all his idea. And the producer in that film was being interviewed, and he was saying that the song, because they were filming, they had heard the song so many times. And he said something like, you'd think that you'd get sick of hearing a song when you're making a film and it's based around something like this. And he said, but this song, every time during filming, they would have to record it or take after take after take. They never got sick of the song because it was just so catchy and so uplifting. Yeah.
I want to know who wrote it. Did Tom Hanks write it?
No, he did not write it.
Adam Schlesinger.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know.
Don't know who that is.
I don't know that name, and I wonder if he ever wrote any other songs, but he really did write a winner for this.
I totally fell in love with this film.
Yeah.
And I remember I bought the cassette soundtrack. I think I still have it in my hopeless chest.
Children, cassette is what we listened to before streaming and before CDs.
Yeah, yeah. And I just loved the actors as well in that film.
Such a great cast.
Yeah, it was a great cast.
Liv Tyler.
Yeah.
Oh, she was so beautiful in this movie.
And do you know that Chris Isaac is in that movie?
I did not remember that.
Yes, he was the uncle.
Really?
He was the uncle to the lead singer.
I saw him live once.
Oh.
I saw him live at Casino Rama. Rama.
Huh.
And he was amazing. I mean, I only know 2 songs maybe of his.
You said all of this.
Did I repeated this? Okay, never mind.
You said
the
exact same thing in another
Okay.
episode.
Moving on.
Okay, so one-hit wonders. Yes. So anyways, thinking about one-hit wonders, I was thinking about, okay, the 3 things that I was thinking about were, are there one-hit wonders in other countries?
Check.
The film, That Thing You Do.
Check.
And what is it about one-hit wonders that, like, what's the science behind, like, how do one-hit wonders happen?
Right. And what you mean?
Like, what are the factors that contribute to a one-hit wonder happening?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm almost more curious to know, like, why can't the band replicate that success with other songs?
no, well, that's in part my question is
Okay.
like, because when you think about it, not all bands can be super successful.
Right.
There just be like there has to be some sort of way of weeding out, right?
Yes.
And then also, well, and to go back to the film, That Thing You Do, part of what happens in that story is, they've written this catchy tune and they've recorded it, and then they start to get the attention, and then the record company
label,
the record label kind of propels them, and then they go to Hollywood, and then they are starring in or their background band in like a beach film.
Okay.
Right. Remember like the Beatles, they were in a film, and Elvis was in like a film, because that's what they used to do back then. Right. And then, but then the stardom kind of, they're starting to lose their way in their identity, and it's happened all so fast that they fall apart.
Okay.
And so that question is, why is it difficult for some bands to replicate? That's probably a common narrative with some, is they,
Yes.
they got really lucky with something,
Right.
but they don't have enough of a foundation to be able to work through those kind of growing pains. Or
That makes a lot of sense.
right.
I guess I would think, like, I don't know how the music industry works, but I sort of would have assumed that people write an album and then they just release a track off the album, but they have all these other tracks to follow up with. But maybe part of what one hit wonders do is that maybe it's just they have a song that is ready to go, and they don't really have a fully fleshed out album of other songs.
Well, at least in this film, that was
Right.
part of the storyline. But I would think also, I would think that, serious musicians probably do have a repertoire of music. But, I would think there's just the, if you're trying to make it in the music industry, and I'm totally projecting here, but I was thinking, if you're trying to make it in the music industry and you finally get that breakthrough, even though you've been thinking about it for a long time, it's such a sharp or a steep
Ascent.
shift.
Yes.
And you're holding on. And even though you think you're prepared for it, I suspect a lot of people, what they thought it was going to be and what it actually turns out to be are very different things.
I'm
so
sure.
the resilient, or the ones who have the capacity to work through it end up rising to the top. I think there's probably also a lot of luck involved.
As with anything when it comes to celebrity, I'm sure you're right about that. And I guess it's a lot to be tossed into the forefront of fame and celebrity. And because everybody just wants you to repeat that thing that you're known for.
Right.
And they don't always have room for you to show anything else. Like, for example,
Yeah.
Millie Bobby Brown. Do you know her, the star of Stranger Things?
I don't really get her, but whatever.
Okay, so
she's my JoJo Siwa.
She Do you watch Stranger Things? Have you
No.
ever? Okay, so she's been on this show Stranger Things since she was really young. I guess like 11 or 12 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And that show, it has taken a long time in between seasons because of COVID and such. We're just getting the final season coming out this year or so. And
What?
she's now like, how old is Millie Bobby Brown now?
Stranger Things?
Yeah.
I thought that they finished like a long time ago.
Nope. We've been waiting. So she's now 21 years old, okay? And so she has her own fashion line and everything. And she's a young woman. So she is she's not a child anymore, but it's like people expect her to still look and act and dress like a child. They're not willing to grow up with her.
Right.
And she has received a lot of backlash for dressing like a woman sometimes, And so that makes me think of these artists who have one-hit wonders, and you want to grow and expand beyond the one song that you're known for, but everybody's like, no, do that song. Do that song.
Yeah, I read an article where a band was talking about how they had a hit or they had a couple of hits, and they create new content and they go out on tour for that content, and how demoralizing it was when the audience leaves when you're playing your new music, because basically they've only come to hear your
That
like
one
one or
song.
two songs that they know.
Yeah.
And so I could totally
That's
see
gonna
that.
bite. Okay, so that is a great song and a great movie. I'm gonna have to watch it again because I do remember it was just a feel-good movie. So that's gonna be on my list. Maybe I'll watch that tonight. Here's another song that came from a TV show that I remember from a TV show, and that's what it always draws me back to, and that is "Kiss Me" by Sixpence None the Richer. Out of the bearded barley,
Yeah.
nightly beside the green, green grass. I think that, first of all, the lyrics are so beautiful. It just talks about like being in a simple place, like just being out in the fields with somebody you love. And it was from the show Dawson's Creek. Did you watch Dawson's Creek?
Yeah.
I was such a fan.
It was a guilty pleasure of mine.
I wouldn't even say it was a guilty pleasure. I just felt like I was at around the same age as them. So I was experiencing those emotions of like first love and crushes and all of that at the same time as they were. So I really felt sort of I was experiencing their lives vicariously, like experiencing teenagedom vicariously through them. And I loved that show so much.
Was Katie
Holmes?
Katie Holmes, did she do anything after that?
Yeah, she did. Like, she did a lot of stuff, and she was in another series, I think, for a while. I mean, other than marrying Tom Cruise.
It is amazing how she's maintained the kind of star status. And
Yes.
I honestly have no idea what she's done.
She had something just last year. Like, she's been doing stuff consistently.
Huh.
Yeah, if I
Okay.
look at her
well,
IMDb.
that's how she's, Okay, well,
Ocean's
back
8.
to
Anyways.
back to
Kiss
One
Me.
Hit Wonders.
Yeah, and that song. Anyways, whenever I hear that song, it makes me think of Dawson's Creek and just all the romances and the heartbreaks and the friendships, and then but I now have feelings for my friend's boyfriend and just like all that. It was just, I don't know, it just felt like,
I'm surprised there wasn't a reunion of that show.
yeah,
Like, you'd think that would be a show that would have a reunion.
that's true. The strange thing for me, not so much with this group because they're my age and what am I trying to say? Sometimes when I listen to music, like when we've been revisiting music from our high school days, like Duran Duran or U2, and when I look at those artists now, it's a bit of a shock to me.
How old they are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they're frozen in time in my memory.
Yeah.
And so it's always a little bit, it kind of breaks my heart every time when I see them thinking, oh, right.
Yeah.
You're not just frozen in that time from the 80s. Like you're a human. Not that I didn't realize that, but it kind of, I don't know. Do you ever feel that way?
Totally. Yeah. But I think that also touches a little bit on we were talking about earlier with people only liking the one song that you had at that particular time. There's this attraction to a particular, moment or
Yes.
period, and that inability, or I don't know what I'm saying, but I think it relates to what we were saying a little bit about one hit
that it
wonders.
transports us kind of to a time and a place in a way.
And feelings of what we were going through at that time, or what that song or that particular thing relates to. I do feel that way. Yeah, I definitely feel that way with a lot of times, especially when I think back to the songs, from the 80s or whatever. But I do that as well when I look at photos of myself, and I think I look at photos of my younger self, and I'm like, I know that's me. Like it's definitely computing, but I look so different. My skin looks different. My face looks different. I had lots of hair back then, It's like there's so much that has changed physically for me as well.
And how does that feel for you?
It just feels, yeah, I'm getting old.
But does that bother you when you see those photos compared to what you look like now?
I wouldn't say it bothers me. I think, when in preparation for Duran Duran episode we did, looking back at the videos of them when they were younger, and the skin was so taut and plump, the lips, were plump and just youthful. Like youth is beautiful. When I look back at photos of myself when I was younger, and then I look in the mirror and I'm like, yeah, I have aged. I'm not bothered. I mean, I guess I would say I'm more bothered a little bit by, I took my youth for granted.
Yeah.
I didn't really appreciate how.
But that's what they say, youth is wasted on the young.
Yeah.
Who does take advantage of their youth? Like,
yeah. Do you think that, what do you think your 80-year-old self would say to your 53-year-old self?
Probably enjoy it while it lasts. I mean, I don't know.
Do you ever come across or interact with older people and, they're like, oh, you're young. And I'm like, oh, you don't, you might say that, but you have no idea I'm much older than I look maybe. But
I have that conversation often.
But then they're always like 56. Oh my God, you're still so young.
Yeah.
And if you're 85 or whatever, that is.
And also like the fact that they think that they're surprised by the fact that you're 56 or that I'm 53. I'm like, well, I'm doing something right. I'm taking care of myself. And the neighbor where we're moving into, our next door neighbor, is 76. I don't know how it came into the conversation, but he was just telling me, he's retired and he's 76. And I said, oh my gosh, I would have thought you were, in your early 60s. Like you look fantastic. And I really just think, just be happy. Try to be happy. Just try to enjoy your life and not stress about the physical, because if you stress, it's going to affect
age you.
Yeah.
So my husband's aunt is 93.
Oh my God. This is the one who hosts a weekly dinner?
Yes.
I love
and
that.
So Marg sends, hi Aunt Marg, if you're listening. Aunt Marg sends a message over WhatsApp to everybody.
Also amazing that she's on WhatsApp.
Yes. 2 words. It's on.
Ah.
So she sends the message out on Saturday.
Okay.
And everyone has to respond by 9 a.m. Sunday morning because she goes to the grocery store after church.
Right.
And she picks up the groceries for that meal. So she needs to know how many people to cook for. And so on Sundays, we all go over, and I'll make dessert or somebody will bring something, snacks or something. And we have a family meal. And with dessert, I usually sit beside her and I'll say, oh, Mark, can I get you another piece of pie or whatever? And she'll go, oh, no, I can't eat anymore. I've got to lose weight. The woman's 93.
I love that.
Yeah. So there may be a component about maybe not the obsession, but the attention to that also contributes to longevity. Although she is a spitfire, but I'm not so sure I'm going to be like that when I'm 93. If I'm blessed enough to get there, I can see myself as being cranky and
I don't know about that.
Chair in my fat pants.
I don't know about that. I think you've always been incredibly like everybody loves you.
Oh God.
Everybody loves you. That is 100% true. You're always so fun to be around. I cannot imagine that changing. I can imagine you getting cranky, but then we all get cranky. I mean, fucking my hip hurts all the time.
Your red laser's not working?
Don't.
Okay.
First of all, I haven't used it in months.
Okay. Well, then we're going to have to laser you up.
We're going to have to laser me up.
But thank you for saying that. I don't think it's necessarily true, but hey, I appreciate seeing that.
It is true.
All right, back to one-hit wonders.
Back to one-hit wonders.
Okay, so going back to my question about like what makes a one-hit wonder?
Yes.
There's an article that I read that talked about the science behind one-hit wonders.
Say more.
Yeah.
This is fascinating.
So what they did was they took there's actually been quite a bit of research on music. So there's a lot of data around it and talking about what are the common elements of songs that were one-hit wonders. And I can't remember what the article said.
Oh, Lordy. We haven't even been drinking, folks.
No, it's true.
Well, I did glance at that article too. I remember them talking about the musical influences of the day and
yeah, there's cultural influences that are part of it. There's technological influences, right? So one of the things that the article talked about was how, and it's unclear, but in the 90s there were more one-hit wonders than ever before. It was quite consistent in terms of the ratio of one-hit wonders to other hits or other music in the billboards or on the charts. But in the 90s, it really kind of peaked, and then it started to decline more and more.
Okay.
And one of the contributing factors is around technology.
Right.
So, in the 90s, they're thinking it could be related to the peak of videos as they, the MTV launched in the early 80s. And so within that decade, video production had really escalated and, production values, that sort of thing. And then it kind of dropped off, right? Like I don't think we have much music anymore, or at least we don't have any dedicated video channels.
No, because everything goes on YouTube now or Vivo.
Right.
But everything launches on YouTube. They don't, I think we were talking about this last week. We'd watch the Friday night show or whatever.
Yeah,
it would be the
Friday
new
night video,
the new videos every week. And that was such a big thing. Like that was appointment viewing.
So anyways, this article I thought was really interesting that they took a scientific approach and analyzed, of the top 40 songs, what percentage of those are one-hit wonders over the decades. It was fairly consistent decade by decade until the 90s, and then it started to kind of like go back down and flatten a little bit.
I wonder why. Why did it go down?
Well, in part because of technology. So the article said, overall, the number of one-hit wonders is decreasing while the chart tenure of these one-hit songs is increasing relative to multi-hit pieces.
It is fascinating, though, because it's true. When I think about one-hit wonders, I can't really think about any super recent ones.
Like recent as in the last 5 years, or recent as in like the last year?
Like the last year, the last 5 years? I can't think of any, really.
Well, what was Somebody That I Used to Know?
That was Got Ye, but that was 2011. It's a long time ago.
That was 13 years ago?
14.
That's insane. That is insane.
I know.
14 years ago?
I know.
I remember when Matt and Nicole dressed up as Gautier for Halloween.
And it was
they were perfect
outfit.
too.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
I wonder if they'll let us post a photo of
We're
that.
going to have to ask.
Okay, we'll have to ask.
I loved that costume. That was so cool.
Oh my God, that was 14 years ago?
14 years ago.
Jesus wept.
But you didn't have to cut me off. Then
Make it like it never happened and that we were nothing. Oh my God, do you remember when they sang that on Glee? It was with Matt Bomer and the other guy, dark hair, cute, Chris something.
Blaine?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Man, I love that show.
Okay, the 2010s saw a decrease in the frequency of one-hit wonders and an increase in chart tenure for this shrinking cohort of one-off successes.
Okay.
Several paradigmatic
That sounds right.
Several paradigmatic shifts in music distribution, many of which are ongoing, are likely driving these trends. So internet virality.
Yes.
A direct relationship between artist and fans.
Yes.
So many one-hit wonders from the 2010s were commercially successful, before their lone mega hit. Indie alternative rock bands like Portugal the Man, Walking the Moon, Foster the People had an existing body of work before a one-off song enjoyed widespread success, which goes back to what you were saying. Remember how you said, oh, well, maybe they had, they'd only had one song and they didn't have, right?
Other backup songs. Yeah,
these are bands that actually did, and they already had a following.
Right.
But a particular song became a big, and then they ended up, they still had their fan base, but machine drift and algorithmic winners.
What?
Machine drift, a gradual process by which humans increasingly rely on algorithms to make decisions and lose their ability to think critically about these systems. So it's what we're being fed through the technology.
Right. It's kind of like I look up a carpet cleaner one day and then every ad that I see for the next 3 months is about carpet cleaning.
Or Shawn Mendes, you watch his video and then
he keeps coming up. Yep.
Other musicians in that genre.
They try to feed you what they think you want.
And then the fourth thing was changing business model. So music producers used to make money by selling consumers variety. We would buy vinyls and CDs and that sort of thing. Yeah. But now it's all streaming. And so, and this goes back to that episode we were talking about playlists. Right. It was the Guilty Pleasures episode. And we were asking, okay, well, how did these certain songs end up on a Guilty Pleasures playlist on Spotify?
That's right.
And that's the answer to the question, is that these algorithms, you listen to a particular song, and then based on all these other data points, they start feeding songs that have similar data points, like maybe amount of time on the charts or whatever.
Right, or genre. Or it's like when you pick a movie on Netflix and it says other similar titles, and it tries to direct you towards yes. And it's like, I don't want you to tell me what to watch. Don't tell me.
Yeah, you don't tell Priya to do anything.
I'll watch what I want to watch.
Don't tell her.
No.
Don't tell her that she needs things fixed. Don't tell her that her code is dirty.
I like it when you tell me what needs to be fixed, and I like it even more when you come and fix them.
Okay. So one-hit wonders. We could go on and on about one-hit wonders because there are just so many. And I think, you were saying earlier in the episode, you weren't sure why. I don't know. Do you recall saying this?
I have no recollection of any of what I said in the last hour.
That you don't recall any more recent one-hit wonders. And I think
I do remember that.
Yeah. So I think that's because you don't really know if you're a one-hit wonder until you've had some time between your big hit and then something else. So maybe maybe 5 years you probably should know. But, that could be why there are more one-hit wonders from our past on these lists.
That is a good point, and that's making me think of some of the songs from the last few years that were really big hits, and I'm like, has that person had another song? So yeah, we'll have to just give it some time, and we'll report back in 3 years, folks.
Yeah.
On our 300th episode or something.
Yeah.
Do they have syndication for podcasts? I don't know.
Anyway. Well, little listeners, thanks for listening to our one-hit wonders, and let us know, were there any songs that we didn't mention that are big one-hit wonder songs for you? Yeah,
or if you can think of a more recent song than Got Ye, which was back in 2011, then tell us, what is the most recent one-hit wonder that you can think of? And we'd love to hear from you. We'd just love to hear from you.
We'd love to hear from you. And how would we love to hear from you? Where would we love to hear from you?
Oh, you know what, Mike? I can tell you we have a couple of ways. You can either send us an email at lifeisinthelyrics@gmail.com, or I believe that they can slide into our DMs.
Yes.
And where will they slide into that?
The little podcast on Instagram.
Yeah.
The other thing that would be great for you to do, listeners,
tell us.
is leave us a review on whatever platform you're listening to us on.
Yeah.
So, give us some stars, write some comments. What are you thinking about the podcast? What would you say if somebody asked you, what is this little podcast that you're listening to?
Yeah, we want to hear it, and we just want to hear some thoughts of something, anything. Bueller.
Yeah. We know people are listening. We just love to hear from you.
Exactamundo.
All right. Well, thanks for listening to this episode, and we will see you next Wednesday.
Ciao, Bella.
Bye.